What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome to the call. Dr. Caddis, I see you online. Welcome to the call. Those on LinkedIn, those watching us on YouTube, those that are on Zoom and on Facebook Live, welcome to the call, guys. This is the moment you've been waiting for of how to truly convert high patients. I'm going to click to share my screen so you guys can see what we have in store for you today. Give me 2 seconds. All right. Hope you guys can all see the screen. This is what we're talking about today is truly how to convert high-value treatment plans, how to get every single patient just to say yes. And you might say, you know, what are the objectives? Why are we even here? What do we really want to accomplish with this? I know Dr. Gaddis personally. I know I love him. I coach him. I mentor him. He's a great young dentist. But my objective and my intent for all of you who are on this call is to really help you close every patient. I mean, every patient, how to convert the no into a yes, how to truly show you how I do it every single day, and how to help you earn more revenue. Because at the end of the day, revenue is not a bad thing. And we talk about this all the time. People don't like when we talk money, but the reality of it is that if you have money, you can change the world. If you have money, you can make the greatest impact. So I hope when I say, hey, earn revenue, nobody cares. Nobody gets offended by this. So a little bit about me. Why is it important to listen to me? Why do you want to, who is Dr. Bobby Grassi? Well, guys, if you don't know me, I'm Dr. Bobby Grassi, born and raised in Flint, Michigan by a single mom raising 3 kids on $18,000. Now, you might say, why is that relevant? It's relevant because I've been through, I know what it's like not to have money. I also know what it's like to take a practice doing $150,000 a year to over $4.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. In Flint, Michigan, a practice doing $150K to $4.5 million. And I've done that through a GM shutdown, a Flint water crisis, and a pandemic. And so the reason why it's so important and why I wanted to start these calls, and you see the brand, the Dentist CEO, the reason why it's so important to me is I knew there was a void in dentistry. I knew there was a void in dental school. See, dental school is this amazing tool, and it teaches you all the basics of how to become a dentist. It teaches you all the things, if you will, to pass the board, but it doesn't teach you the business side. And it doesn't teach you how to truly convert patients when you're struggling, whether they have money or they don't have money to say yes. So I really hope, and my intent is if I can share knowledge with you, and I can give you the tools to become the best version of yourself, and you can soar to a whole new level, then I've won this thing called life. Because one of my biggest missions and passion in this world is to make the greatest impact. And what better way to make an impact than in a field that I've been working with 2 decades in dentistry to help change your career. So I hope you know this is important. It's important to me. Hey, get some pencils and papers. Let's put this thing on paper and let's go. Right? What's the agenda? Guys, we got to talk about a few things before we talk about treatment plans. What are the things that set me up for success? Is the practice, is the admin, is the prep work. So think of doing reps in the gym. You got to do the reps. You got to set your team up for success. You got to build rapport with all your patients. You got to know what your patient needs are. You then got to communicate your plans and costs. And then you got to help the undecided patients. You got to help handle the bargain hunters, because we know they're all out there. And then we're going to conclude, and we're going to open up for some Q&A. But if you have any questions as the time goes on, as I'm presenting, right, because I'm trying to fit this within an hour slot, any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. My team will get them to me, and I'll try to answer them on the fly, or we can save them at the end. So thumbs up if this is tracking so far right now, guys. Thumbs up if we're ready to go. So let's rock. All right, cool. Know your numbers. This is probably, to me, and why I paused on this, is knowing your numbers is the most crucial thing that they don't teach you in dental school. They don't teach you sometimes even in business and dentistry. And when I mean know your numbers, I mean know what requires you. How do you establish your procedure costs? You know, what is this? What's your consultation time? How much, how much would you even like to make per hour that you do dentistry? See, these are the questions you got to ask yourself to know what numbers you need to charge in certain procedures. And you might say, yeah, but Dr. G, our procedures are dictated by insurance company. That's fine. Some of them are. You're absolutely correct, especially in the United States, right? Those that are overseas, I don't know all your fee schedules and how it's worked, but you need to know your numbers. What does it cost you just for your time? What's your prep time? What is the insurance cost? What are the deductibles? What are the adjustments that you have to have? What does it cost for your support staff? What does it cost? I have implants on here. What's your procedural cost with instrumentation? What does it cost for you to run your consumer bills? What's your actual procedure time, your follow-up time? And look at it, medications, your anesthetics, what does all this cost you? You need to know your numbers down to the level that you discuss it, nobody else. You need to know this so then you can set yourself up. So I'm going to give you an example of an implant on me. And you might say, well, how do I establish this treatment cost? How do I do it? I'm just going to break it down. And so my procedure cost, my cost to do an implant. Okay, this is my cost. You might say $1,735. That seems high. Well, let's break it down. Let's break it down, shall we? Because we got to give you the facts. If I want to make $750 an hour, and you can see that here, my initial consultation time is about 30 minutes of my time. Now that's $375 that I'm worth in that time. And you might say, well, this might be an arbitrary number. It's irrelevant. This is my cost. And the reason why people say that's an arbitrary number, and it's just simply not true. Your time is money. Your time is money. The time you're not prepping teeth or preparing teeth costs you money. You got to pay the bills regardless. You're paying the lights regardless. So that is a true cost. $375 is 30 minutes of my time. Procedure prep time, another 30 minutes. That's $375. Support staff. I got 2 assistants that work with me. They make an average of $25 an hour. That's how I came up with the $50. My implant cost is $185 per implant. Some of you might pay more. Some of you might pay less. I'm using implants. You can use this on anything, crown or bridge, fillings. It doesn't matter. I'm just giving you an example with implants. I love implant dentistry. I love high ticket sales. I love all this stuff. So implants are my baby. I'm just using implants. And then my actual procedure time, my time, it takes me about 30 minutes to do an implant. So when I look at this in my follow-up time, I follow up for 30 minutes. You might say, follow-up, why would you add that in there? Because anytime you got to call a patient, see how they're following up, it's time, guys. Anytime you're taking yourself away from the chair, it's time. So you have a procedure cost of $1,735. Now, most people will look at that and say, but the implant only costs you $185. I understand. Let me show you. If you want to mark up to create revenue, if you want to make profit right across the way, price patient will pay before any applicable tax or whatever. Some people want a 20% profit. Others want 50% profit. Add what you think the market can handle. So in me, I like to do at least 50% markup. So remember, you're going to cover all your cost. You're going to cover what you're paying yourself. You're going to cover all these points. Everything else that's above this point, this calculation is gravy to you. You understand how numbers work. You got to know what to do before you even present a treatment plan, how to even set your fees. This is what's going to set you apart from anywhere else. This is what's going to set you up for success right away. I see too many dentists that do dentistry all the time and they make no money. I see them too many times, and I know this is about treatment plan case acceptance, but I'll get there. I see too many times that people are basically working to pay their staff salaries or working just to survive, and it's wrong. But if you follow these formats, like the procedure cost, we have the procedure cost, we already told you was $1,735. Now for this, I'm trying to make 50% profit. What's 735 times 0.5 gives you 868 as a markup profit. You add the two together. My treatment plan for this sample case should cost me $2,303. So my implant I should make $2,303. You can add whatever you want, guys. You want to double that, double that. Whatever the market can handle, that's what you can do. But that just shows you that if I do this procedure and I do it in the time I allowed it, I'm going to make $868 for that time. So that's just showed you how to make the profit. So that's how you sample your case of what to charge. Okay. Now we got set up. How do you know that you got the prep work done? You know what you should charge for procedures. Now we're on to phase 2. Phase 2 is you got to get your team set up for success. Your team must know before you present treatment plans, before you go over treatment plans with patients, before you open your doors, before you allow somebody to work for you, make sure you have a properly trained staff. I require, it's a requirement, a minimum of 2 weeks of training that they must shadow me. It doesn't matter if you're a young dentist. It doesn't matter if you're an assistant. It doesn't matter if you're a front desk person. They shadow me or they shadow somebody in my office for 2 weeks before they're even allowed to talk to a patient. And you might say, well, why is that? Because they must speak you. They must know your culture. I have an example where I own crumble cookie franchises, and I know that's not about dentistry, but it's about training. Before I can even open the doors, a corporation or franchise requires me to know their culture, to know their system, to know their values. For some reason in dentistry, we've lost track of that. For some reason in dentistry, we don't train. Have a scarcity mindset of not being able to hire staff that we don't train properly. I'm telling you, make sure they know your core values. Make sure they do it your way. Make sure they can dot your I's and cross your T's and speak your language. Look, if you can give them more time of training, awesome. But at the end of the day, give them a minimum 2 weeks. Put them on a training schedule. Educate them. Make sure that they're aware of all your services you provide. Make sure they know how to talk your talk. If they do this, this will be a powerful tool. And then provide them with the workbook and checklist. This is the sample checklist that I've done for my assistants. These are a few things they have to go through. This is just a sample. Create any process or system you want. But the reason why we're talking about this first, procedure cost and staff involvement first, is because these are all the things that are involved of getting high patient people to say yes, getting high value treatment plans. I'm talking treatment plans that can be up to $50,000 to $60,000 to $70,000. If you don't believe me, I've done it in Flint, Michigan. I do it multiple times a year. So it can happen. I said Flint, Michigan, one of the poorest cities in the world. And if I can do it, you can do it. Follow these techniques, it can happen. So converting high value patients, once again, how do you truly set your team up for success? The last thing you got to do, you got to start sharing the wealth. When you get people to say yes, if you truly want to get a staff that's engaged, if you truly want to get people to move the way you want, then you can't have it all to yourself. I use coin this phrase, and I know Ken's on the call, and I see Dr. Gaddis is on the call, and he's heard me say this, that a pig always gets slaughtered. And what I mean by that is if you don't share the wealth, if you take it all, eventually you're going to lose. They will stop fighting for you. To get your team to help you sell these treatment plans. And yes, it's selling. To get people to divorce, make sure you share the wealth. If you win, they should win. The more the team wins, the more success you have, the more you need to share. Create a bonus system, create a referral system. My rule of thumb when it comes to dentistry is that my payroll should be 26%. And that's it. So if I'm a $4 million practice, I have roughly $1.1 million to share between my employees. And that's what I do. And that's how you stay within budget and you know your cost, but it's just, look at, make sure they win. Make sure they win. And another thing, don't nickel and dime people for every little item that they have in their statement. Don't overcharge for things. Don't pay-per-click things. Don't use phone calls. You know, if you do that, you're going to lose trust. You're not going to be able to build a rapport with that patient. And you know, itemize or break down your statements with what it really means to them. Like, I'm going to give you an example of me when I bought a bike. I just bought a bike recently, and my wife bought it for me for Father's Day because I want to train for an Ironman. And I know that sounds really corny to talk about a bike right now, but let me explain how it even reverse worked on me. And my wife goes in, buys the bike. And she buys the bike, and I get home and she says, "Sweetie, here's your bike. I'm so excited. I think I'm going to go train for an Ironman." And I realized there's no pedals. And so we thought that was funny. So then I go to the bike store and I said, "Hey, look, I think you forgot the pedals." They go, "No, that's an add-on." And then pretty soon you're adding on all these little things. Well, I got really frustrated because my wife walked in and said, "I just want the best bike so my husband can start training." Well, if they would have just presented the full treatment plan and presented the full thing, my wife would have did it. It would have saved us time, saved us money. But no, we felt nickel and dime. So this X amount of dollar bike really costs this. And a patient doesn't want that. Quit nickel and dime people. Set the fees that you know you can have. Diagnose properly ahead of time so that you don't have to nickel and dime people. People believe what they see, not what they hear. Paint the picture in the mind's eye. Have models, images, any presentation modes, videos available so that people can actually see and touch as you're telling them what to do. Show them the value, break down their barriers, just truly help them, right, just to win. A good example is another example of my own personal life, why pictures are worth 1,000 words, is I was doing a renovation in my house. And I did not even ask originally I said, "Okay, I want you to do a consultation with me, tell me the cost and breakdown." This guy was a genius. He came in with a digital format of my house already rebuilt, already redone, already restored. And I fell in love with the picture before I even asked him the cost. And the funny thing is I ended up paying 2 times more than I thought in my head because I had to have that picture. That is what I wanted so bad that I had to say yes to the case. And so if you don't think a picture is worth 1,000 words, trust me, show them what you're going to cause and create in the end. Show them. This is probably the most important thing. Building rapport with your patients. Now we're going to dive in more of how to truly present the treatment plan to the patient and what to present. This is what you guys all been waiting for. But like attract likes. So I call it the 4-minute rule. You must have 4 minutes to build rapport with the relationship with the mutual patient. You're going to establish the trust and understanding, respect between two or people. It creates a sense of safety or comfort and understanding. It also reduces stress levels and increases satisfaction. And you might say, like, a good example is, and I'll tell everybody this, we judge people a lot by what they do, especially as dentists. We'll say, hey, everyone knows chewing tobacco is bad. Everyone knows vaping's bad. Everyone knows smoking's bad. And we get in our little high horse. And these patients are reluctant to share information because they're afraid to get scolded. They're afraid of something bad to happen. Well, guys, I used to do chewing tobacco for 17 years. I'll put it right on social media. I really don't care. So when I find somebody that smokes, I said I used to. So I quit for 15 years. The first thing I do is I say, I used to do that stuff too. So I'm not here to judge you. I'm here just to help you. I don't really care what your bad habits are. If somebody says they're into fishing, say, oh my God, I love fishing. My team sets me up. They kind of guide me down their path. And I'll show you at the end the tool that I use to help build rapport. But at the end of the day, create a sense of security. Make them feel like you're just like them. They look at you already. They're already scared to death of coming in here. Make sure that they know you're just on their team. Because at the end of the day, that's what we are. We're just a member of their team. And the more they can trust us and open up to us and believe we're just like them, the more success you're going to have. Include your team when it's building rapport. I allow them to learn about the patients and their concerns. So before I even jump on, before I see the new patient in a treatment plan, and if you guys don't adopt this, I know Dr. Gaddis, you might do this differently. When you don't adopt this, I would adopt this. I have my staff ask them a list of questions before I even come in. I allow my staff to be their, ally before I even walk in there. So I allow them to learn about it. And then my staff will kind of tell me what they know about them. And I have a better understanding of what their needs are. I have a better understanding who they are. It creates a more welcoming environment, inclusive. We do tours in my office. I don't have it on here, but we actually do new patient tours. And you might say, well, why do you do a new patient tour? Because it's no different than somebody coming into your house. If you don't ever open up the door and show them around, the person coming into your house isn't going to know what they can and can't do. But if you show them every room, where the bathrooms are, if you show them where the fridge is, if you show them everything around there, now they feel like they're part of something bigger. They feel like they're part of a home. So when you're building rapport, don't lose track of just showing them around the building. Show them what you are all about. Expose yourself, if you will. Become vulnerable, become just like them. And then ask your team to treat all your patients like they're valuable and special, because they are. When they feel valued and special, when they feel respected, when they feel like they can trust you, it'll give them the confidence and show them that you care. Because at the end of the day, we're in this field. We always say we're in this field to have the best issues of the patient. Well, why won't we care enough to know about their personal life? Why won't we care enough to know about what makes them tick? Why won't we care enough to know just to make the greatest impact in this world? Guys, just with a thumbs up so far, is this tracking for you? Like, is this at least making sense of the importance of building rapport? Thanks. So when you do this, when you build rapport, they're more likely to follow through and do whatever you want. They're more likely to adhere to all your recommendations. I promise you, man. When you show them you're just like them, when you're upbeat, when you're positive, no matter what, because so many times, guys, we see this as dentists and people. I can't see you on LinkedIn, and I hope you're engaged, and I hope people on Facebook are engaged. We know that people are scared to death of coming in the dental office. We know that they're sweating with their hands. Man, I've seen sweat and perspiration in a mouth. We already know they're scared. But if we can show them in a positive way how we can accomplish them, and we don't judge them, and we show them how their end result is just going to be magical and euphoric, you win. You win. This will lead you will literally have the patient eat out of your hands. You will become, like my nickname is, the patient whisperer. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to get patients to say yes, as long as we are doing ethical sales. But at the end of the day, the patient's what's going to guide you and get you there. And I'm going to go there in the next slide. But that's just, man, have that special rapport. Become vulnerable. Don't be so uptight. Don't be that person who's a square peg, right? They don't care. They don't care about the chemical features of the body. Nobody cares about the science of dentistry. Nobody cares. They care that you're human. They care that you care. They care that you're just like them. And they care that you have the solution maybe they're looking for. Show your personality. Anyway, I could talk on forever about that, but show your personality. And guys, this is probably, I pause because I chuckle every time I see this. This is probably every mistake every single dentist that I ever coach and mentor do. They trust other people to talk money. And I know everybody else that's been in dental school, everyone that's been doing dentistry for 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, they really believe that somebody else should talk money because you were never taught this in dental school. And I can tell you that is the biggest lie upon lies. always talk money. And the reason why you talk money is because you don't have the limiting belief system of money that somebody else might. We are 1%ers that are pretty much on this call. And what I mean by 1%ers, we're people that are willing to grind to become a doctor. We're people that are entrepreneurs. We're people that are willing to sacrifice and take student loans to go follow our dreams. That's a 1%er. We are people that might have a little bit more revenue coming than the average population. Last I checked in Genesee County, sorry about that, in my water. The last I checked in Genesee County, where I'm from, the average income is $35,000. Well, I don't know many dentists making $35,000. So you already are 1%er. So with that said, when you talk money is different. Don't allow them to discuss money that could be barriers. Staff can be aware of your ballparks, they understand of your ranges. They can know all this stuff. They can create a dialogue. If you don't want to do it yourself, make sure you create a dialogue with scripts and tell them exactly what to say. It goes back to the training a long while back. But make sure you understand money and their concerns and you talk about it first. Having your staff educated and trained is awesome, because if you do present a case, you get this thing called buyer's remorse or regret. Your staff, before you know it, will know how to handle it. Your staff should be trained, most importantly, really on customer service. How to truly make the patient happy, how to truly make the patient feel special, how to truly come up with any techniques, how that maybe if you couldn't close them, how they can close them. But remember, pricing plans, payment requires are to be discussed only by you. Only by you. You set the parameters of pricing and the plans. Then the staff just executes it based on how you want it, based on how you teach them, based on the culture of your practice. And I know they don't teach that in dental school, but trust me, it is the biggest aha moment I had to make my practice doing from 150, 750 to 4.5 million. It's I talked money. And that was the biggest change. Until I got somebody trained to do what I can do, I talk money. So we're now going to dive into more of the patients and allowing the patients to open up the new conversation. We talked about, knowing your numbers. We talked about, at the end of the day, training your staff of the quality. We talked about building rapport. But now we're going to really create the dialogue of how I do this every day. Allow the patients the opportunity to express their concerns and ask questions. Show them that you're willing to listen and take their concerns seriously, and they will feel like their voices are heard. A hack that I do, and I would highly recommend you do this, is I get a piece of paper out when they're talking. And I'll say, Mrs. Smith, do you mind if I write notes? And I have a whole questionnaire, which I'm going to show you at the end, that you guys will be able to download by just going through this. That will absolutely change your life. And I promise you, it'll double the revenue you've ever done, right? If you actually use and execute this form. But I allow them to ask questions, and I know their concerns so that I'm able to repeat it back to them. So when you get a patient to open up, when you've already built that rapport and you say, hey, tell me about this, let them speak and shut up. Just let them speak. And then write down some things, okay? When they do this, and you're really listening, you're going to gather important information that can help you make a more accurate diagnosis and develop a more effective treatment plan that's really meant for them. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to give them, the patient, what they want based on what they value, right? You're going to gain a deeper understanding of their needs. It's going to help you identify or address any one of their barriers that may be preventing them or holding them back. They are more likely to be satisfied with their care. They're more likely to actually refer more people to you, give you a Google review, whatever it wants, better patient outcomes, and really a reduction in complications, because the number one thing that people fail in dentistry is a lack of communication. And so the number one risk you are at in dentistry is not giving people other options and not communicating. It's never that you over communicate is the issue. It's never that you didn't share the information that is not the issue. It's the bungling of information that becomes the issue. It's the lack of diagnosis that becomes the issue. It's the lack of meeting the patient's needs that becomes your issue. So therefore, if you know their understanding of what they want, it's easier to gain that knowledge, and your treatment conversion rate will go through the roof. Know your patients. I just said that. Know your patients, right? So in order to create that saleable treatment plan, that plan that you really want to knock on the park, it's always based on your patient's needs. It's not yours. So many times I see dentists going in and say, Mrs. Smith, you need XYZ. They don't take the time to review whether there's any, like, what's their cost, what's their labor, what's their barriers. They don't ask the right questions to their patients. They don't understand what is covered and what is not. They don't understand the minimum and maximum remaining amounts. And guys, when I say this, when I'm presenting a treatment plan, my rule of thumb, and I want you to own this, I always tell patients, even if they talk money, I don't treat insurance companies, I treat people. So do you mind if I talk fact numbers? Now, in the back of my mind, I know what their insurance company is. I know that they will cover. So if a patient asks you a question of what will my insurance cover, say, Mrs. Smith, I know you're really concerned of what your insurance will cover. Based on the information you have, is going to cover between 50% or 80%. Now, I didn't give them the cost yet. I answered their question, always answer their question, and then follow it up with another question. Understand what is covered, what is not, understand their minimum maximums, understanding their obstacles is huge, understanding their various treatment phases. Sometimes you have to do it phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. What is the patient's urgency? What is it they will want? Understand what is needed for your procedure. Understand the equipment needed, the staff, the instrumentation. Before you convert all these, this is what you got to know in your head. If it's a high-end case, if it's an implant-supported case, you need to know this. You need to know what that you're dealing with so that when you present the treatment plan, you can talk about it. I talked about before knowing your numbers. I talked about before knowing everything. Well, if I'm doing an all-on-4 implant case, I told you I love implants. I have 4 different tier structures based on what the patient needs or wants. And so it could be something as simple as, do you want something fixed or removable? And you might say, well, how implants can be removable? Well, we guys know implants can be removable, not the implant componentry itself, but what you put on the implants can be. So that will change your price point, right? So when you discuss money, understand what the patient wants, understand their barriers, understand what they're comfortable with, and then we can go from there. So once you know the money is a barrier for your patient, then you can discuss this on the onset and you can address the elephant in the room. Always assume, guys, that there is a money as an issue. I always assume that's the issue, but I also know that now that I know that, I just assume it's an issue. I try to, and I've already built a report and trust and understanding, and I've asked them the questions in order to really understand their buying psychology and past behavior. I ask them asking them the following 12 questions and how they will help you to get a yes, right? I do all this. Here's some things that I do. Right. This is some questions I would ask. If you have time to write it down, feel free. If my team can put it in the chat, great. Hey guys, something you might say, well, what questions do you ask, Dr. G? Hey, tell me about your last successful, or tell me about your last past dental experience. And you might say, well, why is that question even relevant? Because if they've been unhappy somewhere else, right, then you know what not to do. What made them unhappy? If they had success somewhere else, which is kind of going to be odd. If they had success, you might say, well, if you love Dr. So-and-so so much, why did you leave? See, I followed it up with a question. And they might say, oh, my insurance only covers this. You already know the patient you're dealing with. You already know you're dealing with the patient that is just going to do whatever their insurance covers. So you know how to kind of work your sales pitch or your treatment plan presentation around it because you know what you're dealing with, right? And so you could even say, what did you like about your last visit? What didn't you like? Was it cost, time, result? What did you feel? Some people say, I like my other dentist, but he just wasn't fast enough. Okay, you already know that you might be dealing with a patient that time is the barrier. They might say, I liked it. I liked the office. The staff was very friendly, but he hurt me. Okay, well, now you know that they're afraid of pain. And so these are the questions. Say, okay, explain to me. You said, how did he hurt me? Well, what did he do? Oh, he poked me with a needle. He didn't put any rubbing gel in. I'm making stuff up right now. But the more you know, the better. And another question, what would you have liked to have to know that you didn't get then? Like, what would you like now, that you didn't get then? Like, what would be the outcome you like now that you didn't get then? And let them just answer the question. So these are sample questions, guys. I mean, if you had the same experience, how would you relate it? Would you say yes? I mean, these are some sample questions you can ask before you deliver the plan. And now we're about to deliver the plan. So remember, there's barriers to address in the room. And so when we're presenting a plan, we got to remember there's barriers, and we talk about, now we're going to try to find out for them what it really was at their last office, or if they're a new patient, what they're looking for. I have a questionnaire I go by, and I can have this without asking questions, which you're going to get. I'm going to try to simplify this, but let's say they left. You're going to find out, was it about too much money? Was there discomfort? Was it time? Or they just didn't like the office look. They didn't like their staff, whatever. You're going to find all these out. These are the barriers you're going to have to address when you present your treatment plan. When you create agreement with your patient and you're addressing your treatment plan, always, always, always agree with all their concerns. Always. If somebody says, I have a concern about money. Say, Mrs. Smith, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I have a concern about money too. I know what you feel. I remember growing up not having any money, but at the end of the day, if I could show you the value of what you're getting done, do you think it'd be possible to say yes? Now you might say, why did you already ask to say yes or get them in a treatment plan before I did that? Because I'm trying to get them in the mode to agree with something. If I can get them to remove money as a barrier, and sometimes what I do, let's say money is the barrier, I literally will take my hands and I will say, let's just move money out of the way for a minute. Let's make sure we just set this to the side, if you will, and we can discuss the elephant in the room. Get an agreement back from them. When I say, Mrs. Smith, I agree that, time could be an issue, but if I can make this more efficient for your time, would you say yes? I'm making them say yes in agreement. And like I said, a sample is, I understand it's expensive and I agree with you. What if we did it in such a way that it didn't hurt your pocketbook right now? Would you say yes? And watch what I'm doing with my head right now. Would you say yes? And you might say, dude, what is that? It's the psychology of a patient. I'm getting them in the habit of saying yes by even their actions. Some of you on camera, I just saw you shook your head yes, right? So it's just the thing you can use. Get them to say yes. Go for the close and ask to go ahead. Always ask to go ahead. Always ask to get that final sale. You need to handle their objections and pricing to go to your student. You need to know, once the patient agrees, though, to your fee, once you present a treatment plan that meets their values and their needs, once you get them to say yes, stop talking. Stop talking. It doesn't matter if you're 1 minute in the conversation and building rapport. Some patients are bottom line or detailed. If they're bottom line, just get straight to the point. If they're detailed, you can got to give them more details. The staff can process all the financial stuff later. But the minute you get somebody to convert and the minute you get somebody to say yes, just stop talking. So many dentists will outsell themselves. They'll get the person to say yes, and then they'll keep talking as if they're going to sell something higher, which makes absolutely no sense. But here's another thing you can do, and I just thought about this. When you get the patient to say yes, if you haven't met all their needs, say, okay, Mrs. Smith, before I leave, is there any other thing you want to talk about? Is there any other thing you would like me to present in the treatment plan? And go ahead and ask that question. But at the end of the day, once you get them to say yes, just stop. It's like the fire, you're on fire. Stop, drop, and roll. The whole point of presenting a treatment plan is just to get them to agree with it. If you've already eliminated all their barriers, if you've already established a rapport, if they've already said yes, just stop talking. So then one question you might have, that was a really easy patient. The patient said yes, right? How do you help the undecided patient? Like, what is the strategy that we can do? How do you truly help that patient who is undecided? And all of us have had these patients. I mean, I think my conversion rate of all my treatment plans is actually pretty good. It's about 85% of all my treatment plan presentations. I do very well. My high ticket ones, my big ticket ones, and what I see by high ticket is $20,000 or higher. It's about a 30% closing rate, but I'm not worried about that one. That one, if it's 30%, that's great, because those are high ticket items. And it's 30% closing rate on the same day. I didn't say after that. Sometimes I have to plant seeds and it takes me a few years. Like the one I did, a $60,000 case just last week, it took me 2 years by just showing her and talking it over and over. So never stop trying. But here's how you get the undecided or prospect patient. Ask them if they're bottom line or detailed. One of the things that you miss sometimes is that, thanks Ken for that love, by the way. One of the things that you sometimes miss is really the language they speak. And so if you're an engineer, if they're a type A personality, they're going to be more detailed. Most dentists, believe it or not, are more detailed. I'm the opposite of dentistry. I'm more bottom line. And you're like, what do you mean bottom line? Bottom line, detailed or bottom line is just how you like your information. The engineer is going to want every breakdown of the procedure down to the probably burr you use and how much time it's going to be and how much cost and how long are they going to be here and how many assistants are you have working? I mean, it sounds stupid, but that's a bottom line or detailed person. Bottom line can be like, hey, I'm just going to do a crown prep on you. And this is what the cost is going to be. And how would you like to pay for it? That's an example. But understand their concerns. Take the time to listen to the patient's concerns again and try to understand the reason behind their indecision. This is what's going to help you identify it and even address the barriers again, what's preventing them from making a decision. Sometimes they're just scared. And fear is the issue. Sometimes you got to touch the elephant in the room and say, Mrs. Smith, I totally realized that you said money was the issue, but we broke it down financially of how you could afford that. But there's something else holding you back. Is there something else that maybe you're worried about that I just don't know about? Is there something else that you could be not telling me? And sometimes you'd be shocked what they say. You said you're going to do this now for 2 years, or you said you're going to come back to me. What happened? And they might say, you know what, I had a really bad experience with my other dentist when they did a crown prep. So now you mentioned the word crown prep and it scared me. So I used money as an excuse, but it really wasn't money. So sometimes you got to ask a different question. And sometimes you just got to call the person out. Right. So those are helpful things you can do for the undecided patient, and and really find out why they're not making the decision. Right. And if they don't value what you do, to be honest with you, and I've done this, I've fired patients before, not to be a jerk, but if they're not doing the work and they're not doing what you recommend, then why do you want them in your practice anyway? Because you're just going to chase your tail. And I don't really care about $70 for a cleaning, because I'm not into this thing just to have a patient come in for cleaning. I'm into this thing to fix a patient and their needs. And if you're not getting them to say yes, sometimes, hey, maybe it just doesn't work. I've had that word before too. Provide more education. Provide more patient with a clear and understanding and detailed information of the risk and benefits if they don't do it. Let's use money as the example. And you might say, well, how would you, let's say somebody says, I just want you to take the tooth out, right? Versus doing a bridge, or I'm doing a root canal or doing an implant or whatever, and wants nothing done. And money was an issue. Let's just have an example. All right, Mr. Smith, I get this. You just want me, the cheapest way is to take your tooth out, right? And we go through there. But Mr. Smith, just so you know, if you don't put something back in there, the teeth are going to drift, the top tooth's going to hyper erupt. You'll lose some bone in that area without the tooth there. You're just going to have situations down the road that will not be cheaper. It'll cost you more money. So I know you want me to take the tooth out. I totally understand that. But what else can we put in there to help prevent XYZ? And they might say nothing, but they at least got to understand the benefits of putting something back in, their risk and the potential outcomes. And I've had this happen 1,000 times. I will tell somebody the outcome that have denied treatment to me. I said, hey, you need a core crown on the tooth, right? And they said, I don't want to do a core crown on the tooth. And I said, if you don't do this, it's going to fracture and break. But hey, I'll be here when you call me at 2 a.m. And sure enough, they'll call me at 2 a.m. And guess what I say to them when I see them? I told you so. Now you might say, dude, why would you do that? Because I want them to know that what I told them 6 months ago happened now. So I promise you, whatever you tell them in the future, they're going to listen to you, because now you just earn their trust. They know what you're talking about. And guys, we could dive into either crazy stuff that's going to help us in the future, AI tools and everything, but this is truly how to do human communication with the patients. Discuss alternatives. I've already touched on this a little bit. Provide alternative options for the patient. This will help the patient understand how they really differ in terms of pricing, results, and recovery time. Show them testimonials. Show them your outcomes. I have pictures on my phone all the time of these cases, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 cases. And I told you before, pictures are worth 1,000 words. That's why if you can have stuff on your websites, if you can have videos of other people, video testimonials, if you can have live pictures of them before and afters of what they come, pictures are worth 1,000 words. Pictures will sell everything. And so, it is factual. I've sold more implants and treatment plans in cases in dentistry by doing a free x-ray. And you might say, how would a free x-ray or a free CBCT sell a treatment plan? I showed them the picture of their disease. See, I told you before, never nickel and dime a patient. So sometimes I do stuff for free. And you might say, dude, why would you do that? Because it's setting it up for the long-term play. And nobody teaches you this. Nobody shows you this strategy that I'm sharing with you right now. If a picture is worth 1,000 words and they're not listening to the words that I'm saying, and they don't trust me that they have an infection and they can't see it, they're less likely to do it. But if I can show them, and if you don't have a CBCT, take a panel, take a PA, take a bite wing, take whatever. If you take a picture, take anything. But if you can show them the disease, if you can show them the destruction, it's like a mic drop moment, dude. It's over. If you can show them testimonials and great outcomes, it's over. So thumbs up, y'all agree with that. Like a heart, I should get a double heart on that one. Big mic drop moment on that one. So, so take the time, guys, also when you're having the undecided patient, and respect their pace. I told you sometimes it takes a patient 2 years. Sometimes they truly don't have the money. They want us so bad, but we got to help them find a way. Sometimes they just can't make the decision right now because it's stressful and overwhelming. Respect their pace. Don't rush the process. Our job is just to inform and educate. Our job is just to tell them all their options. Our job is to fix them when they allow us to say yes, when they finally give us consent. Our job's not to judge people. Our job's not to make them feel belittled if they can't. If they can't, they can't. So what? Wash your hands of it. Go on to the next one. I'm a baseball guy. You get a pitch thrown at you and you miss, swing again. Just step up to the plate and swing again. As long as you know you're doing the right thing for the patient, you're educating them, who cares? Let them, don't rush them. Don't rush them. You don't want the pressure sale. You don't want the buyer's remorse. You want them to have total belief and value of what they're doing. And then follow up with the patient. Say, you know, Mrs. Smith, I realized that you didn't want to do this. Is it okay with you if I follow up with you in a few days to maybe give you some additional information or answer any questions you might have or address any concerns that you may have? Is that okay? And then sometimes you'll get the patient that actually says, hey, you know, I got to ask my husband, I got to ask my significant other, I got to ask whatever, right? My wife. Say, okay, that's fine. Do you mind if I follow with a different day? See what I'm doing there? I'm keeping the dialogue open. They're still in control, but I'm asking for permission to follow up. And then, damn it, you better follow up. If you don't follow up, you're going to lose. Be willing to compromise. Be willing to compromise on price and procedure, especially on procedures you can dictate the fees, whether it's ortho, whether it's implant dentistry. Yes, we have to follow laws from insurance company, but sometimes you have some wiggle room and you can compromise. Like the only thing you really got to do is if you give a discount to the patient, you got to give it to the insurance company. But let's just say for this situation, it's a fee for service patient and there's no insurance. Compromise. Make sure you explain the implications and compromise. Sometimes you just got to say, okay, how do I get you to say yes? What would be beneficial? Most people don't buy a car because of they don't look at the sticker of the overall cost of the car. They look at the car payment of the car. And can they afford the car payment? Same thing as a house. Dentistry should be no different. Dentistry should be no different. Then you got the bargain hunters, guys. We know these people because I'm in Flint, and trust me, I see them all the time. If I pay you cash, will you do this? If I do this, can you do this? As long as you abide by all the laws of insurance companies, the answer to the question could be yes across all the above. But let's assume right now for this analogy, there is no insurance. We call it the loafer method. Listen, go through options, be flexible, emphasize, and resourceful. Loafer is like the old school shoes, the penny loafers, like listen, options. That was a joke, guys. I'm 50, so sorry. Listen, take the time to listen to the patient's concerns and understand their situation. Understand their situation. Try to truly identify any financial or other barriers that's preventing them from seeking the care they need. Like listen, right? Truly listen. Not in your mind, in their mind. Listen. That's why I told you I write down on a piece of paper what people say. It's a form of listening. And then you can repeat it back, right? Options. Discuss options and cost. Be transparent about your cost. Give them different treatment modalities or options that will work with the patient and find a solution that meets their needs and fits within their budget. I have 4 different price points for all-in-4 implant dentistry. 4 different price points. And every one of the patients that wants dentures, I didn't say implants, dentures, I go through all those options. I go through 5 if they want dentures, right? But I don't present the treatment plan yet. I'm just going over the options. I'm presenting the options. Okay, you want upper and lower dentures? Okay, combined roughly, in my office, roughly $2,400. Okay, sweet. You said you want implants. Well, you could do mini implants or conventional implants. The difference between mini implants, just so you know, and I'm doing this really fast for this call, mini implants are a one-stage implants that you just got to snap a denture off and on. There's 2 different price points. If you want mini implants supported all-in-4 lower denture, it's $8,500. If you want conventional implants, all-in-4 snap-on dentures, it's $10,000. You see what I'm doing? I'm not nickel and dime people. I'm just telling them a flat rate. Telling them flat rate. It goes all the way up to $25,000 per arch, but I digress. That's your expertise. That's you looking at a treatment plan. That's you determining, do they need bone grafting or not? That is a very high level treatment plan. I don't care what it is. Do they need 6 crowns? Do they need 8 fillings? Whatever it is, guys, know what it costs you, know the breakdown, but give them multiple options. You know, sometimes if time's a barrier, do all the quadrants in one day. I don't know. It's going to cost you $2,000 a day. It's going to come up with options. Be flexible. Discuss different payment options. In my office, we have 4 different financial plans, period. Right? And be flexible. I probably built the practice, believe it or not, on the ortho model. And you might say, well, what do you mean the ortho model? I told you I'm from Flint. And I told you money's really tight in my area. And it's true. Money's really tight. But what I also know about my Flint people, and what I know about people in general, is that if they find value in what they want, they're always going to say yes. If you can make it affordable for everybody, they're going to say yes. So why are we as general dentists never doing this? This is the greatest hack of all hacks. You guys can start implementing this. I should probably charge you $10,000 for this information. You're going to laugh when I say this. Allow people to make payment plans. Be flexible. So what? If it works for orthodontists, it can work for you. 95% of the people in the world want to pay you. 95% of the people in the world actually want to pay their bills. You might lose on 5%. And we all know in dentistry, it's a great rate to have a 95% collection rate. So let's just assume that no matter plan we have, right, 5% of them aren't going to pay, right? You don't have to compromise what you do. You don't have to compromise your fee. You don't have to compromise your value where you make sure, but make sure the patient understands the value. And also, if you do lower the fee, say, you know, Mrs. Smith, I'm so respectful to you that I'm going to give you $1,000 savings or whatever. Tell them what you're doing. Tell your team and how you're going to provide them, ensure them, and maintain their standard of care even with this. Make it, be flexible. Be flexible. Emphasize, show respect. I didn't say, I don't like the word, I need to change this word, but loafer with an E is better than I can't use a C. When I say emphasize, I really mean compassion, but let's just use emphasize. And you may say, what's the difference? Emphasize is you're taking all the emotion the patient feels. So if they're anxious, you're anxious and you can feel their anxiety. Compassion is you're showing respect and compassion towards the patient's situation and trying to understand where they're coming from. So compassion is different, but avoid being judgmental, dismissive of their concerns. Don't ever judge anybody. I told you before, our job is to show them the value of the care we give them. Our job is to show them why they should do it. Our job is to educate them, inform for decision. That's it, right? Be resourceful. When bargain hunters present themselves, like I said again, we're using the loafer method. Be resourceful, provide helpful resources, information, community support systems, anything you can do to help them understand healthcare costs. Make sure they have all the information they need and make sure that you educate them to make the informed decision and it's easy for them to say yes. Over deliver always on information. Over deliver always on the care you give. Finally, guys, we're in conclusions. When the patient says that a procedure or treatment is too expensive after you've gone through everything and you're exhausted and you don't know what to do and you've gone through the bargain hunters, you know, here's a few things you could do. Now, you can say, I understand the cost is an important factor in your decision-making process. I would like to remind you that the procedure is an investment in your long-term health and well-being. So with that said, how can I get you to truly invest in your health and well-being? Guys, we have this thing called COVID. We have all these diseases in this world, and every one of us on this call as dentists know the importance of oral care in health. We all do it. But we do a really terrible job of educating our patients of why they need to get their 2 cleanings a year, why they need to remove infection from their body, that dentistry is the only thing that you can't have a magic pill or antibiotic to take away infection. You can't. In dentistry, we all know this, is the oil change for the body, period. Without a functioning oral health system, you're not healthy. Our patients need to know this. They also need to know that you offer very different payment options and you're on board with costs and you can help them with their finances. I've said this before, if they can find a way to make payments to fit within their thing, they're going to say, yes, I have residual income coming every single month with ortho and general dentistry alone that pays me $60,000 a month in residual income without me touching a drill, because of all the payment plans I've created. And they come in like clockwork. They come in like clockwork. I don't know any other business where without even doing anything, you can generate $60,000. And 95% of my patients pay me. 95%. So set up payment plans, make it affordable. And another thing, understand that the procedure may not fit into your budget at this moment, but we'd like to remind you that your health is the most valuable asset to us. So let's talk and see if we can find a way to make this happen. And it'll be cheaper now than it is later, right? So I always tell people on that when I touch about that is that dentistry, even inflation, it's only going to go up, not backwards, right? So I promise you what you think is expensive now is going to be even more expensive in the future. And I would say, ready? Wouldn't you agree with that, Mr. and Mrs. Smith? And they're, of course, they're going to say yes. Now, when a patient say they want to think about it after you've gone through everything and there's still hesitation, here's a few things that I would say. I probably touched on this earlier. This is just in conclusion. If everything were just right, would you make a decision to go ahead today, right now? You would? Great. So what is it? The price, the financing? Is it the procedure time? Is it the terms? Is it the pain? Is it the company? Like, what would allow you to get committed today? And let them just shut up and listen. Shut up and listen again. Go back through the questionnaire, even if you have to go back through it. And you're either going to, like I always say, another thing, hey, Mrs. Smith, you're either going to do this now or you're going to do this later. The question is, do you value your money over your health? And you can always make more money later, but you can't get time and health back. These are the primary assets. So let's get it. Let's get it now. Okay. And so I'm just showing you how to do it, what to do. It's okay. It's okay to have that tough conversation with the patient. It's okay. And guys, look, just we're jumping on the call, and we have the last 10 minutes of Q&A if you want. Just jumping on the call, you're going to get this free money-making gift for you. It's the patient interview questionnaire that I use every single day in my practice. I promise you, just this little piece right here will increase your dentistry, if not double it. It might even triple it, but you got to use it. It's going to break it down the Colby. The Colby means are you detailed or bottom line. You're going to give this to your hygienist. You're going to give this to your front desk person. Whoever sees the new patient first, if it's you, if it's your assistants, they're going to actually ask all these questions. And so this tool is going to allow you to talk the language I just showed you about today. Hopefully this was beneficial to you guys. Hopefully this was a really good call. Thumbs up if this is tracking with you. But this is the tool, this one little tool out of this whole thing. I kind of can summarize everything I said in a nutshell. This is it. And so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Any questions, go ahead. If not, I'll give you a few minutes. I don't know. I can't see the chat right now. Let me see the chat. Okay. Nope. That's the patient interview. So no questions. I don't see. Okay. Gotta get out of my chat here. Okay. So anyway, no questions here. That's fine. At the end of the day, I want to help you grow. I want to help you double your revenue of the practice. And this would probably be my only thing that I ever tell you that I'm asking from you is I'm offering a double your revenue 6-month membership program guaranteed to get your results or your money back. If you're willing to do the work, I will obviously show you what I do that I've doubled and tripled and quadrupled my practice in 6 months. No joke, no questions asked. All you have to do right now, it costs you nothing. If you're interested, just book a one-on-one personalized discovery call with me so I can show you how I can help you. It's thedentistco.com/double your revenue. It's right on this prompt. But just set up a call with me. Set up a call so that I can see if we're a good fit for each other. And I can also see I can show you some tactics and strategies how I can double your revenue. If I can do it in Flint, Michigan, if I can do it during a Flint water crisis, GM shutdown, a pandemic, and we're literally 40% of my patients are DentaQuest or Medicaid patients. If I can do it, I know I can teach you to do it. So the only thing you got to decide is if you truly want to grow and double your revenue, do you have enough time to set up a call with me and make it happen? I hope the answer is yes. Guys, thank you so much for sharing your time with me on a Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. If there is no questions, I'm gonna let you go a little bit early, man. See, I'm always a guy. I love time. Time is my barrier. So I love to be efficient with my time. I hope this was a great value to you either way. I hope that I get to see you guys in the future. At the end of the day, at least you got the little questionnaire right here, the patient interview questionnaire that has absolutely been golden in my practice. This little questionnaire, as I talked about, is what's really catapulted me to the 4 to 5x my practice. Now, it's not just the questionnaire, it's how we talk. It's how you communicate with the patients. And that's what I hope I'm allowed to show you in the future. But much love, guys. Have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Mr. Grassi,
yes.
There's a question that came in the chat. Can you answer that?
Sure. Let me see the chat. Hold on. When presenting alternate treatment plan options to the patient, how can we effectively help them understand the differences in terms of price, results, and recovery time? Okay. So I guess when you're discussing alternate treatment plans, let's talk. I'm going to break this question down because this is a great question, and thank you so much for sharing. When I discuss alternate treatment options, I try to hone them down to only 2 options, and I talked about this. And so let's use an analogy of removable versus fixed. Let's just use this for the analogy. So if somebody has missing teeth and you're going to compare a removable appliance versus fixed, I will give them the cost of the removable appliance, right? And then I also will give them the cost of the fix, whether it's a bridge or an implant or whatever. So I give them basically 3 options. And then I tell them the price roughly. So I might say, okay, Mrs. Smith, I see that we have 2 options here. We can do a removable appliance, a partial / denture, or we can do a bridge or implant. Well, the removable appliance is going to roughly cost you $1,200. My bridge is going to cost you $2,700, of which I then will tell them the time. So if you want a bridge, it's going to take about 2 to 3 weeks because I got to take an impression, send the bridge out, blah, blah, blah. It's going to cost you $2,700. Here's your results, just so you know, with a bridge is something that's, as long as you maintain your cleans, is warranted 5 years within my practice. Here's your desired outcome. Your recovery time. Hey, anytime you do a bridge, Mrs. Smith, you might be a little bit sore, but it's just a simple injection. And I mean, as long as the bite's right and you're temporary, you'll be fine. And then the implant route is a little bit different. The implant route is a different narrative. From start to finish with an implant route is $3,500. I tell them what they can expect, from recovery time to abutment, from implant placement to abutments, so and so. And then my team, we hone it down. So let's just say that in your case, Ann, the patient picks bridge or picks partial. Well, then if they pick a bridge, I'm just presenting the bridge. And I hone it down before we get to that transplant part of what they want. Now, if they want all three, feel free to give them all three. You've discussed the numbers. Then it's up to your team to help them hone it down and decide. That's the only time my team gets involved. So hopefully, Ann, I hope that answered your question. And another question, can you provide insights on effective patient retention strategies? That's funny. That can lead to increased revenue through repeat visits. Gabe, that's so funny you mentioned that because that was my next topic next month. But with that said, Gabe, yes, the strategy is this, to answer your question. The strategy is the minute you get a patient that's happy with your work, the minute you get it, I asked them to refer somebody, and I set up referral programs, and I give benefits for the patient to refer in my practice. However, the retention, the money spot of the retention, if I was a dentist, I would warranty all my work. And I know that sounds crazy, different than anybody you probably ever talked to, is people don't warranty their work, but I warranty my work if they maintain hygiene. So if I don't see them, and what I'm really doing is trying to create retention and hygiene. We all love that with a thumbs up. As dentists, you love people coming in regularly because and we're taking care of their care and we can oversee them. So if I can't see them twice a year, then I will not warranty my work, no matter what it is. And they know this, and they sign a warranty piece of paper. I literally have one. So, okay, here's my warranty. Here's what I've uphold by. And look at, in fairness, guys, if you're from the States, I don't know where everybody's from, but most insurance companies will cover a denture or partial for 5 years. Most insurance companies cover a bridge for 5 years. I warranty all my implants for life. I didn't say it for life, period. And that's why you see me do a lot of implants, because they are the greatest thing since sliced bread. We all know this, right? We all know that is the standard of care you should live by if you could. So those are some insights, Gabe, and thank you for sharing that. But we will talk a little bit deeper into increasing your revenue through repeat visits. And another thing you do, Gabe, I try to, Gabe, to answer that question, I try to do as much dentistry I can same day, because I think people's time is money. And in this day and age with two people are working at a time. If I can get more done in one visit, the better for you, the better for the better for the patients, better for my team, the less breakdown of rooms, the less breakdown of everything. So the more profitable I can make every visit, the better. So I try to do full mouth dentistry, and I book out times. I can teach you how to do that, trick too. But I definitely do quadrant dentistry. I try to do as much as possible that the patient will agree to pay for. So hope that helps, Gabe. Did I miss a question? I'm presenting. Nope, that's the Gabe answered that question twice. Okay, I've seen Gabe twice. All right, so I think we got everything so far. All right, guys. Well, if there's no other questions, hey guys, even if you have a question down the road, if you have a question, feel free to email me at the info@thedentistco.com. Feel free to reach out to me, connect me in any way, shape, or form. Once again, guys, thank you for allowing me to even present this case. Thank you so much for jumping on. Thank you so much for even sharing your time with me. I hope this was insightful. I hope to help you guys grow your careers in years to come, because at the end of the day, I've been doing this for 2 decades, 21 years of dentistry. And I really hope that I'm able to catapult your guys' career to the next level and show you how to really create more. And there's an acronym for something else, but I hope to see you soon. We'll talk soon. May God bless you all. Thanks, guys.